Okay.
Do you want me to lead the meeting
All right,
or?
Rob, do you want to kick us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you can still lead for right now. Yeah.
Excellent. I am pulling up the agenda just so I'm looking at it.
I thought we did that. We're gonna do this.
All right, welcome everyone to the Chamblee Downtown Development Authority meeting for Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. We will have the call to order. Van, I guess, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay. This is not going to be too.
With liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. If this gets too awkward,
Can you let him in?
I will hand the reins over. Moving on to the approval of minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the special called meeting for April 6, 2021? Do we have any questions and a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the special call meeting for April 6, 2021.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for June 22nd, 2021.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes for June 22nd, 2021.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the special call meeting minutes for July 1st, 2021.
All in favor? Aye.
Last one, motion to approve the special call executive session meeting minutes for July 1st, 2021.
All in favor? Aye. Chair's report. I don't have much to announce here other than one of our board members just had their first child, which is why he is not there, Jonathan. So congratulations to him. Moving on.
No, but Jonathan had his baby. That's what we're trying to say. He and his wife did.
Financial report. I don't have this in front of me, so I don't think I'll be able to opine too much. And I think this was in Jonathan's court.
It's okay. I can quickly.
Go for it.
It's okay, Rob. I can just really quickly let us know that our assets right now are standing at 450,717. That's on par with what we've had in the past so far. And then just so far, we've spent 32% of our budget. But like we've talked about before, we have quite a few things coming down the pike. So we're just trying to be cognizant of cash flow. And I did want to point your attention to the fact that we only have 3 rents coming in. And we're going to talk a little bit later about one of the rents and making some decisions about that. So that may be reduced slightly as well moving forward. So just kind of giving you a heads up ahead of time that may be changing. And did y'all have any questions from what you looked at?
Not if we're going to talk about rents later.
Okay. All right.
The DDA properties update. We are having progress on both tables and chairs and Chamblee Dunwoody collision. Nothing really to update other than those 2 processes are moving forward. We have not had any hiccups or delays. It's just kind of laying out the way it's supposed to. We'll know more next meeting, the next 30 days, kind of where we stand, if there are going to be any delays. But other than that, good news on both of those that we're going to continue to move the ball towards a close on both of those, assuming nothing happens.
And that's for Seven Oaks and the Worthing properties.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about the vintage lot later in the
Okay.
meeting. Old business, the Stein Group tax incentive discussion.
Okay, so we do have Stein Group here, and I know that some of their numbers have changed. I can try to pull up the presentation on here. So if you'll just give me a second, we can do our best to do that, but I'm not going to promise anything with our technology today because there's a lot going on with the internet. So let's see if we can do that. Okay. So if so my question for you guys is, do you want Stein Group to come back up and talk through these numbers, or do you have questions that you want to start off with?
I don't particularly need to see what I'm going to talk about.
Okay,
It's right here in front of me.
perfect. So they have reduced the amount that they're proposing to 4.42 million for the property tax incentive. And in your packet,
Go back, because that doesn't match up.
right, so if we would like to have them,
7/16/2021, that's the correct number.
the one that we have up here is the correct number, correct? The one that I had in the packet was what I had.
4.6 million is not right, the 4.4 million.
Yes, you are correct. And if you would like to have them talk through that change as well, maybe that would be beneficial.
There's probably one or two items on there that I'd like them to fill us in. You know, we had talked about the traffic signal there, and I see that's on here. It wasn't on before, so they can fill us in on what they're learning about the traffic signal.
As well as the other thing that maybe I would like to hear about is the public park on Shenandoah Way. Is that also being considered? Is that also considered open space?
Mm-hmm.
And is that part of their numbers to get them the right amount of open space? So
Okay, so I think this would be a good time for you guys to come up and talk through these items.
You want me to use this?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Jason Linscott, Stein Esser. I guess I'll follow your lead unless you'd like me to do any type of overview. So, Leslie, will you start with the question you just had? Will you ask it again, if you don't mind, to make sure I understood what you were saying?
you have, and it's not been deleted from this, so you have public pocket park on Shenandoah Way.
Right.
And my question is that also part of what you have submitted as open space as required by our code?
Oh, when we did our original zone.
Yes.
I don't think it is it? Was it outside that?
Is that additional to?
It's additional to that open space requirement that we had for the project. Yeah, we actually always included that little carve out.
Yes. Okay. That's good to know. What do you mean by incremental utility?
There's some things we need to do to change some of the overhead wiring. Like, for example, there are guy wires on our property that are holding our power lines on the other side of the street. We're gonna remove those. So they're not power lines, but they're guy wires that are holding up power line poles. So it's those kinds of things. We also have an Atlanta gas line to move that's underneath the streetscape that we're doing on Shenandoah Way. so that we can do the street trees, it will be on top of the gas line. So moving that, and other things related to underground lines. But the more complicated ones, we're trying to fix guy wires because they're holding up power lines on the other side of the street.
Yeah. Unless you switching out for a concrete pole, that's expensive as well. So all of these hardships are not really, I mean, I understand you want help with them, but, the amount's almost $1 billion, and this is not because of the city, just because of the site itself and trying to do that going into it.
Right. Are you asking about the
whole other hardship.
right, the 4 items there? Right. Well, those are, so the reason the utility one we actually had out, but the last meeting was something that we were told to consider putting back in, because we were, doing things like, we're doing an enhanced streetscape, having to move the gas line. We could come back and ask for a variance. We could have asked for a variance to try and move the trees around, so we didn't have to do the utility work or not do the street trees or whatever, because we do have a hardship there from a zoning standpoint because of the public utility we have to deal with. So we're trying to maintain that streetscape and actually making it wider with all the rail trail work we're doing around the site. So that's what it is related to the utility one. The required walls in the streetscape in the courtyard, the walls there are related to the rail trail that we're doing between the music store and our site. So basically what's happening is, because we are not, we could have taken the building there and built it closer to the music store's property, the music store's property. But we didn't. We wanted to do the rail trail connection. So what that effectively did was we had less room there to run out and grade. So we're having to do some sidewalls over there. Those kinds of things. The additional enhanced exterior finishes due to site configuration. That one I don't. Is it something we would have had to do or not? Depending on this site is kind of an island. We're trying to enhance things all around the property to make it, not have a rear end, so to speak. So that's what that is. And the same thing with streetscape, it's related to the same thing, but I can understand we want to discuss those items.
I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you. And then Dan, you were asking about the street lights.
The signal improvements.
Sorry.
And crosswalk, that whole intersection.
Traffic signals, right. So 2 things that you guys mentioned in the last meeting that we went back and studied. One is doing a decorative crosswalk at American Industrial Way and Chamblee Dunwoody Road, where we're doing we already had it here to modify the triangle, right, and add ADA accessible ramps, which are not there, not on our property, but across the street at the island to just improve connectivity there. That's what it is related to the site improvements there. We then added the cost to do a decorative crosswalk, which is like a thermoplastic product. It's not painted. Lasts about 10 times longer than paint. It's what they did in Decatur near the courthouse. Georgia State did it. If you've driven down there in Decatur Street, it's to do that type of product. So that's what that additional thing is there. The part that was trickier to scope out in a short amount of time is the ability to commit to do the traffic signal replacement. The DDA asked us to look at taking down the wired traffic signals at Chamblee Dunwoody Road and American Industrial Way, place them with the black mast arms that look really nice. When we jumped into that, it was, okay, this scope is increasing rapidly. The engineer, Kimley Horn, who's our engineering firm, started talking about a little bit of right-of-way taking might have to happen on this corner and that corner. And we're like, whoa, this is getting to be potentially too big. We sort of pressed them, got our general contractor involved and found a way to do that without that. There's still some utilities to move. There's a lot of things to really completely finish out the scope, but we removed some of the items that I had mentioned to you, man, that were a little bit scarier in scope that we just couldn't commit to. So we've added that. Actually, in the original request, and the reason that the abatement went down, which you pointed out, the request went down was we had put that number in there, a placeholder for that those traffic lights, and we actually brought the number down. Then this cost, we think it'll cost less than we thought. So we brought the number down. So that's why the abatement request actually went down from when we submitted it. And overall, I guess if you guys, since I have just a moment, have the microphone for just a moment. So what we did was we made those changes from our last meeting. We also, of course, removed the construction cost related pandemic stuff completely. Went back and addressed our other costs, which were a bit stale. They increased just slightly, really. Went from 2.4 to 2.6. It wasn't a dramatic increase, actually. Fortunately, some things have actually come down a little bit since the peak. So what's that? For 5 minutes. The problem is it's like whack-a-mole, right? Lumber's coming down, but then steel goes up. You got a 24% price increase just today on steel. But anyways, so those are the main changes. So overall, the abatement request originally was 7 million. It's now 4.2 or 4.4, which is a little bit less than what we submitted a week or so ago.
So is this, are we at the point where?
Rob,
Vote on this?
you want to chime in?
Yeah, and let me know if you guys can't hear me okay. Look, I could go two ways. It's a little awkward here with me being remote, and I think we're missing two other folks. But that being said, I think we've all had our own conversations with the developer. Generally, I like the idea of this project. I like the idea of the public parking. A lot of these improvements are not directly beneficial to the developer, but it's really off-site improvements that really kind of help an area, in my opinion, that can use it. And so I think this project allows the DDA to kind of fast track some public improvements. And the dollar amount to me is, to me, I don't have a problem with us making a decision on this. You can probably guess where I'm leaning, but I would defer to the group to see what y'all's
Yeah,
temperature
this is tough. So Rob, we couldn't hear a lot of what you're saying. It says, go back to the public improvement costs and, fast tracking that. We heard that, and you have a problem with, and that's where it stopped.
You got everything. My only concern here is the awkwardness of this meeting and me being remote. I would defer to the group that is there if you guys feel comfortable based on who's there and what you've heard moving forward.
I'm sorry. Would you, all right, so I'm curious as to, do you want to vote on 4.4?
Yeah, on 4.4, can we put that?
There's no chance we could just make it a nice round 4 million?
You know what, they can see. And you know what, I'm gonna make a motion to grant the tax abatement at 4.42 million, the property tax incentive at 4.42 million as requested.
I add on to your motion. I don't mind, well, I don't know, I'll go to Laura. If we vote, or maybe it's the Dan question, if we vote on the dollar amount tonight, do we also need to vote on the structure of how it's going to be made up, or is that something that we would empower Rob to negotiate and then come back to us for final approval? Because I don't mind voting on the dollar amount, but I'm not sure if we're all in agreement on how it should be structured.
Yeah, Dan, do you want to take a crack at that one?
It's up to the board. I mean, if we have in the past authorized the chair within very broad parameters to negotiate and execute MOUs. The parameters can be set to whatever extent the board wants to in the resolution. So it could say an abatement of up to X dollars, or with the rest being left to the chair, or it can say, here, go negotiate something up to X dollars and come and.
So we did have a discussion before based off of the 7 million, and we did a fiscal impact analysis, and I believe it was 10 years. It's
80%.
80% for
That's right.
10 years.
But since it's gotten smaller,
Right.
it's not 10 years.
Right, it will eat itself up pretty
Much
quickly.
quicker.
So we can still say 10 years if we
I
want.
totally get what you're saying. I didn't realize that we were all in agreement with that. I
That-
thought there was still some people that wanted like 60%.
That was, the fiscal impact analysis was based off of the 80%.
Y'all are good with doing the higher abatement so it burns off quicker. All right.
And this
Then-
burns off
then-
in,
Then I don't need to add anything to your motion, and I second Leslie's motion.
Do we need to state as agreed upon? Do we need to state that?
We can state that it's an 80% abatement for a maximum of 10 years, because it will burn up quickly.
it'll burn up.
So we know that.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Oh, guys, sorry. This is. I'll get there. There we go. Okay. Moving on.
I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Sorry. Okay, so we're at the Pruitt Health Tax Incentive discussion. This is more of an update. And I can start this off since we're all here, and then if you, Rob, want to chime in a little bit. So essentially, they are updating their numbers, their investment numbers at this point. We had gotten a fiscal impact analysis back from them based off of their new numbers and their new investment. But because they have to update those again, they're waiting to get those numbers back before we can update it a third time. So just letting you know that that's kind of where we are with that discussion. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Rob?
No.
I do want to ask a question, though. I understand that there was some angst coming from that side about this, and
What do you mean?
I'm not certain, but coming from the Pruitt side of this discussion, I don't, because of the lower value and because of the nebulous promise to finish this project in X amount of years as it was approved, I don't understand where the unhappiness was coming from. Or I don't understand where the unhappiness was about. I know where it's coming from.
Sure,
But I mean, they're building on lesser value. I understand we're getting the job,
sure.
but they're building lesser value, therefore, why would they still need this whole tax abatement that they've asked for?
From a percentage standpoint, that makes sense to give them what we originally gave.
So I think that what we had talked about was because it was based off of the jobs numbers, so that was why we're mostly giving the incentive, correct? So that was their full understanding though. And so, you know, but we had based the numbers itself off of the investment, right? And so it is prudent of us, and my staff recommendation would have remained the same, for us to go back and look at the fiscal impact analysis and then decide whether or not the abatement should stay the same or move forward as, you know, as a different number, but based off of those jobs or any other requirements that we would have for them, and just renegotiate that conversation. They did not sign the MOU originally, so we don't have an MOU with them. It's still in negotiations, which is why this conversation is very important, I think. Rob?
Any decisions tonight?
No, we can't. I would not recommend making any decisions tonight because we don't have an updated fiscal impact analysis.
And I'm glad that that's our position, because I want that to be our position.
You don't go
Yes.
from a 70 million to a 50 million, and expect to get the same.
Yes, and you don't go park there, you're gonna get some space out. And
Not only are you not getting the space, We're not gonna be there.
That's true too. So,
So we're
yeah,
not only not adding, we're subtracting.
okay, good. We don't have to put all this tonight on that.
Yeah, we're not voting on this.
And I do quite understand, and that makes me feel.
Yeah. And I know that, you know, I'm just gonna say this so that moving forward, but when we do these motions to move forward, part of why we ask that, you know, we go ahead and put it in writing at 80% over 10 years, we can also make sure that Dan includes things like the parking information in that, you know, motion, so that it makes it into the MOU and makes it into the meeting minutes as a permanent thing.
Yes.
So we'll be sure moving forward that happens. Yes. Rob, anything else?
No, I was just gonna say, do you guys have any questions for me, since I had conversations with Pruitt,
This
but
feels like that T-Mobile commercial. Bad friend, but.
And the girl ends up going to the party in like a.
Yes.
trying to hold up signs like Love Actually. No, I'm
Yeah,
good.
You could if you were not frozen as well. Okay, I'm gonna kick it over to Dan here. We're going to go over to the Peachtree Station Consolidated Annual and Reports Amendment. So I can give a brief overview of, we've talked about this before. What they've asked for is one report for their admin payment and their annual payment, or annual report. There we go. And we're looking to do that in October. Dan and his team have come up with an MOU amendment. And I think that we just need to approve that as to move forward with that. Is that correct, Dan?
I do have one update. You know, it's not the complicated things
Okay, great.
that are hard. It's the small things. The MOU amendment that's in your package is fine, except that the developer wants to resort for the valuation information to the online website or as otherwise provided by the DeKalb County Tax Commissioner. Of course, it's the assessors that do the valuation, number one, not the tax commissioner. And number two, what happens if the tax commissioner, and they do use the assessor information, but suppose they discontinue their website. So what I would suggest that we do tonight is to approve this amendment, but leave it up to the chair whether or not to accept their proposed change to remove.
And I'm gonna give,
Yes.
I'm gonna give you a call instead, because we're having the same problem.
Dan, I can hear you perfectly. It must be,
I can hear Rob.
I think it's a them problem, not an us problem.
Yeah, I think
say, all those in favor?
I know. I can't quite get all of this together, but we're working on it. Maybe if. So Rob can't hear us if we're on mute. And that's the issue. I'm like trying to run a whole thing over here.
He's logged off anyway.
I don't know.
Laura, I don't want to jump off for the sake of jumping off, but is it easier if you guys move on without me? Or do you guys need me for some things?
Rob, if you can call into the Zoom line for audio.
Yes, I think I can do that. I swear I'll never
I
take
didn't
another
mean
vacation.
Just not during this time. You can take vacations, but all right. I'm gonna
Hello, everybody. I'm back. Can you hear me? Shucks.
I can hear you.
04. This
Okay, good.
meeting ID does not exist.
Thank you, everybody. Are we done with Peachtree Station?
I don't know. I can't call in. Oh, it looks like I'm the host now.
Okay.
I swear this stuff never used to be that difficult.
Well, Rob, I can tell you there's a workaround. I know we like in-person meetings, but I've figured out a loophole so that we can have virtual meetings. And
Yeah.
I don't know whether it would certainly be easier if everybody were doing that.
they're having major Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah. Laura said it was a big thunderstorm. That may have something to do with it.
Yeah. I wonder if it makes sense for you and I to conference in and call. Well, hold on.
Well, I can send out a dial-in number, and you and I and Laura can pick up on that, and she can put us on the speaker on her cell phone.
That's what I was thinking. Or I could just call you from my phone and then conference Laura in.
Okay, let's do that. I'll hang up and you call me.
Okay.
You've reached the voicemail of Laura Lindman.
Okay, we should be here. Can you hear us? Rob?
Right, you're
All right.
all right, I'm gonna hang up.
Okay. Are you guys there? They're having some issues. Laura wants us to call in through the Zoom so that she can record it.
Well, I did that. It didn't work. I mean, you and I could talk.
I know that's the thing. And I was not having any issues hearing you or seeing you. So, well, there's.
You want to try Zoom again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting on here by myself. I think they're trying to get on, and it's recording, so it's recording me having this conversation. So, all right.
So do we wait or do we dial into the Zoom number?
I would dial into the Zoom number, and if this doesn't work, they might just have to proceed without us.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I do need to talk to you. We got some numbers on SLX I need to share, but
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
It's still just you and me.
Well, I don't even know how you do that.
I don't know. But it's just recording me. So this is going to be great for the public record.
Why don't we try to patch in Laura on her phone and let her, I mean, you and I can be together, the public can hear you, and her phone with the speaker on can let us communicate with the rest of the board. How does that sound?
I might have to drop here in a minute. I think that's the only issue.
Okay, well then, let's hang up and let me call you back on your cell and let me brief you on SLX, okay?
Okay.
All right,
I'm going to hang up here.